They have gone back above the dam site, even above Houston Falls, and perhaps even higher. There may be a few above VZ Falls. We have spring Chinook salmon returning to these areas. Those are the ones that tend to go the farthest upriver. Those are in fairly small numbers. We think those are probably in the 100 to fewer range as far as what we're seeing returning to the river since dam removal. Tule fall Chinook salmon and upriver bright salmon are found throughout much of the lower parts of the main stem White Salmon River here, and their numbers are in the 1,000 to several thousand range since dam removal. Many of those Chinook salmon are spawning below the dam site, even though many are also above the dam site. But the habitat below the dam site changed significantly after the dam was removed, allowing gravel to redistribute into that area instead of being trapped behind Condit Dam for 100 years. That greatly improved the quality of the spawning habitat in the lower White Salmon River for those Chinook salmon, and now we see them using that. Steelhead are another key species that we're trying to monitor closely. Those have, in terms of expansion and the biggest change, that's probably the species that we can note. They are the ones that had the most habitat reconnected, 30 plus miles of reopened habitat, and they're using it. We see them in all of the expected tributaries where we think they were historically, including Rattlesnake Creek, Buck Creek, Mill Creek, Spring Creek, and perhaps a couple other little tributaries. Like Tony and Jeremy were mentioning, those fish are getting there on their own. We think they're coming back from a variety of sources, including some native white salmon populations, including probably some long blocked resident rainbow trout populations, thanks to research by our partners at USGS Columbia River Research Lab, discovering that even after 100 years of being blocked behind a dam, resident rainbow trout, which are the same species as anadromous steelhead, are sending out soldiers and trying to come back, and now it looks like some of them are able to do that. Coho salmon have a similar distribution to steelhead, probably a little less area that they cover. We don't know as much about those numbers, but we hope to continue monitoring efforts to find out more about that species in the future. That's kind of the story for adult spawners. One of the first things that we tracked in this area by doing spawner surveys or red counts in the streams and main stem white salmon here. So that's some of the information we know on that. Another major effort has been to monitor the juvenile production coming out of the watershed. Once those adults lay eggs and spawn, what happens next? Well, we know from research from our USGS partners that all of those key anadromous species are producing juveniles in most of those key areas. So we're seeing them produced, moving out via tagging that is done on those fish. We know some of them are being detected at Bonneville Dam and coming back at rates roughly equivalent to other nearby populations. We know the life cycle has been restored. We saw initially after dam removal a slight increase in most of those fish numbers. Since then, those numbers have decreased a bit, along with pretty much every other population in this area. Ocean conditions and other factors outside of the basin still drive a lot of the actual fish numbers that we see here. Those of us that are biologists wish we could stand here with a graph that shows dam removal and then a huge spiking fish population number. And of course, real life sets in, and it's a little more nuanced than that. But we are seeing these fish come back. They are in the areas that they were historically and that they are supposed to be now. And that's the bigger story, that they're back in these areas once again and reproducing and able to complete their full life cycle. So that's a real quick overview. There are lots of fish biologists here in the office, or in the audience, besides myself. So look for us seek us out. We can give you more detailed information on anything you might have questions about. So thanks.